Friday night live stream. Not normal content, just a live stream chat. That's all. Don't worry. I haven't given up the other stuff. Just doing a live stream to connect with everyone. Plenty of people still already in the room. Hi. I have a fan on the other side of the room. I hope you can't hear it. It's hot here. Hot to trot. Let me make sure my audio is cutting that out. Yeah, it should be. If you can hear it, if it's hitting the microphone, let me know. Just got in. Some friends in town. Just met them for a drink. Well, I had coffee and Coke Zero with ice and lemon. They had a drink. It was her birthday, so I figured I'd get them a drink and a little ice cream. Audio good. Scott Wexler. Thank you, man. Thank you, sure. Just getting set up. Oh, man. So hot here in the UK. I heard, yeah, there's a bit of a heat wave. Nice. Assuming Ireland got the same. Be out there splitting the stones. When the Irish get sunny weather, they talk about it for years, you know. It's a topic of conversation. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, it's gorgeous today. Splitting the stones, so it was. As you guys saw in the Ireland videos, when the sun shines on Ireland, there's no more beautiful place in the world. I don't think. DJ, upvote and pay the man for God's sake. Thank you. Makes it all worthwhile. Kieran already sent me a PayPal. Thank you, sir. That's nice. What is going on, guys? How's your Friday going? Thanks, guys, for the PayPals as well. One big question. Why are you not in Florence for PT Uomo? Well, I twisted my ankle last weekend and I kept walking on it and it just exasperated the problem. So I had to stay off it. It's much better. I mean, it's not 100% yet, but it's getting there. Oh my God, huge PayPal from my good friend Ali. What a legend. Thank you, man. Wow. Don't know what to say about that. That's quite something. So I have the leg elevated right here. I have a stool underneath the table to keep the leg up. But I mean, it's a fair bit better. I reckon I just whacked it off something. And there's a big fan on the floor in the bedroom, and I was going in there the other night in the dark, and I keep forgetting it's there, and almost whacked my ankle off. And I said, God, is that it? Is that what I did? Did I do that last week at the end of the marathon Friday lives? And just went to bed and lay there with the injury. Is that what it was? Probably was. Of course, the whole audience thinks it's gout. Ray, howdy, you big fella. Friday. Thank Crunchy it's Friday. Yeah, I'm good, man. How are you? It was Hamas. Yeah, sorry, DJ. I keep forgetting. God, of course it was. Everything's Hamas's fault, of course. Don't believe the gout thing. That's what Hamas wants you to think. I love the way they think Hamas is a direct line to everywhere. The BBC, Al Jazeera, everyone. These Hamas guys really good with their social media, huh? Astonishing. Trisha Teague, good afternoon. Was on a cruise and missed your lives. Hope you feel better soon. Is there no internet on a cruise? Or maybe you had better things to do on the cruise. That's understandable. Decent crowd in the room. Hello from Liverpool, molto bene. Skelly, you having some vino there? Looks like you are. Midland. Drum lessons again. I got a significant windfall, so allowing myself a new watch this year. Yachtmaster 126622 blue dial. I was just looking. My friend who's in town has the 126622 with the slate dial, or rhodium, some people used to call it. It's also a beauty. Carlos Paggi, I hope you're well. Getting there, man. Yeah. Just was staying off the leg. But yeah, PT was cancelled for me. Total waste. Waste of money, because I had already paid for the Airbnb ahead of time. That wasn't cheap. It was practically a week of Airbnb. So you can do the math. The busiest time of the year in Florence. And I picked up a bunch of extra clothes for it too. And I didn't get to wear any of them. Bummer. Today there's a strike. The mezzi, as they call the methods, the ways of getting around, which means the bus, the trains, all on strike for the whole day. And I was lucky. I met my friend last night for a quick drink and smoke out on the water, and he mentioned it. I was like, really? I wasn't up to speed. And yeah, thank God he mentioned it. Then I assumed it was just some usual like union disagreement or something. You know, they go on strikes here fairly easily in this country. But it wasn't actually. I read up just to know the details, how long it was from midnight last night till midnight tonight. And no, it's actually the protest. It's a protest. The strike is a protest for Palestine, for Gaza. Can you believe it? That's how you do it. It's one thing, getting out on college campuses and marching on the streets. How about stopping all the trains and all the buses? And people might wake up. Sometimes you have to hit people in the head with a sledgehammer. Remember Seven? That movie with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman, Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey finally presents himself. They're looking for him. They can't find him. He's killing people in a very arty way. It's a terrifying movie. But then they're in the police thing, and a guy you see legs getting out of a cab and crossing the street, and guy walking in, and he's like, detective, he just yells, which is very symbolic, because in the end he's like, if you're going to send a message, you have to send it in a strong way. Signal to noise ratio problem, Dirk is writing to me about the price of eggs. I was asking people about the price of eggs because of my video there the other day about this watch, by the way, wristwatch check. I'm wearing the Cartier. Did I say Cartier? The Cartier Drive the Cartier. But during that video, I was showing you guys the prices of things in the local supermarket, or one of them. And the price of I saw the eggs, and I was like, oh my God, yeah, people will probably want to know the price of eggs. And I said, are you paying attention, Donald? You know, I just made a little quip. Didn't say anything bad. Jesus Christ, the most touchy fucking whiny bitches in the world. It's not his fault. Oh God. Because, you know, if you talk to a MAGA guy, they're going to say the price of eggs is almost free now. You see? Whereas you talk to most other people, are like, yeah, it hasn't really changed very much. Depends. They seem to want it to be true or whatever. So I said, you know what? I should do some investigating. What is the price of eggs? So I asked a couple of different people from different parts of the States. Anybody in the chat want to chime in? What's a dozen eggs? So John, who lives kind of in America's heartland, said that they have come down a little, but you're looking about $9-10 for a dozen eggs. Still pretty pricey, if you ask me. But and Dirk, who's in New York, of course, said, well, one thing has changed. You can actually get eggs now because it was a big shortage. That was also bird flu. There's a reason for that. If you go for the good ones, organic, very orange yolks, about $9 for a dozen. Lower quality ones, $6. The ones I like are still $13 for a dozen. Okay. I think it changes. Prices of things are different around. It's a very big country, isn't it? Greg Chess says $5.50 for a dozen upstate New York. Right. It's obviously it's going to be more expensive in New York and stuff, right? In New York City and surrounding the 5 boroughs and all of that. Betamax Babe, about $5 used to be $2, but where are you, Betamax Babe? I'm just curious because things are cheaper, you know. I know a lot of people who made their money in New York and then moved to Texas or to Nashville, to Tennessee or whatever, to buy a house because they could buy a house in Tennessee. Whereas buying a house in New York and surrounding areas is just way out of their reach. Midlands, that Cartier Drive is fire. Do you like it? Yeah, it is very nice, isn't it? I changed into black. I was wearing yellow today, kind of mustard yellow. And it felt very summery. But then I sat down in front of here just to kind of get all the setup ready. And it was a huge eyesore on the screen. I was like, no, wear black. It's easier to look at the screen. It's just a bit more, you know. Chrono's Best price of eggs as of today from Restaurant Depot, $82 for 30 dozen extra large. I'm trying to decode what you have written there. Large grade A. I'm not sure what you mean. So it's 30 dozen? What are you talking about? I don't get. I'm stupid, man. It's not you. It's me. Yeah. Patricia, $2.98 a dozen in Wisconsin. Well, that's the same as here. $8 in southern Florida, says DG. Wow, it really does change depending on where you are, what state you're in, huh? John, eggs are cheaper in the gray market. Certified pre-owned. Came with warranty card. Midlands organic eggs, £2.80. £3 for 6. That's pricey. £3 is $4. $4.50 for 6. So $9 for a dozen. Space Ace, there you are. Thank you for the super chat. It was great meeting up while traveling in Venice. Have a good Friday night. Space Ace, a chap walked up to me in the piazza, and he's like, "Do you mind if I disturb?" I was like, "No." He goes, "I'm Space Ace." I'm like, "Oh, you're Space Ace." Now I see the face. He had just bought himself a Seiko King Turtle in black, and it looked good, man. I was like, yeah, shit, now I want one of those. Of course, next week we have Jeff Bezos getting married, and they're out in droves already, ready to protest. There was a big manifest today in Rialto Mercato, over by the Rialto Bridge. Which is like the Union Square of Venice. You know, if there's going to be a protest, it usually starts there. In New York City, it's always Union Square. Because New York, NYU is right there. And they're all getting ready. They're all getting out with their boats, because most families here have a few boats. A couple for the kids and then a big one for the family. It's just normal. They're all getting out with their boats, and they're going to block all the canals with their boats. Bezos is going to have to find his way through. I guess the cops are going to have to escort him through. They really don't want him here. I love the way the all-American fucking wants to have his his wedding in Venice. Actually, my friend tonight was saying he has a friend here who has a nice restaurant on a different island. Beautiful restaurant, apparently. And he was saying that he got a call from the Bezos team saying we might be interested in just booking a restaurant. For the whole restaurant, obviously. How much? And he goes, sure, give me 10K. I was saying to my friend, I was like, you could have asked for 50. 10? This is Jeff Bezos you're talking about. But I discovered where it's going to be. It's going to be on San Giorgio. So if you know my channel well, there's a lot of shots of a church across the way. Not the Redentore, which is a different one. San Giorgio, which is kind of on its own island. And that's where they're doing it. Which I have to say, out of all the places in Venice, is probably the smartest one, because it's Venice, but it's disconnected. They're not really going to be in our way over there. But I mean, I have a direct line of sight of that, so I suppose I'll get out and live stream and show you guys the mayhem. I have to figure out how to wire up my big camera with the huge zoom lens to a live stream. Wouldn't that be cool? So I can actually zoom in and show you guys like the details, because from across the water I can get a pretty good shot of San Giorgio. GG, where is he staying? If he's staying at a hotel, he's definitely staying at the Aman or at the Cipriani. Apparently all the hotels are booked out. Think of all the people, like the press, all the journalists, people writing for magazines and so on. They're all going to book. So even the shitty little hotels are all booked out, and all the big swanky ones are booked out for the guests, because apparently there's like 300 or 400 guests flying in. Some of the Trump family might be coming. There'll be fucking helicopters all over the place. Jesus. So you'll see lots of shots on the news, and look out for me, my silly head and my camera. Brendan Boswell, upvote guys, help grow the channel. Thanks, Brendan. You guys are a decent crowd. Give us a thumbs up. Alan says, my friend got married on San Servola. It was fun. There's some beautiful places to get married here. Lots of them. No, the problem with Bezos is he's taking over the fucking town while he's here, you know. It's not going to go unnoticed. Chief Sandy Feet. New subscriber. Love the content. Watches and otherwise. Thank you, Chief. Mega fanboy in private hire restaurant, 50K with security, 65K without. Yeah, that guy could have asked for 50K easily for the day, for the night. What, you think Bezos is like counting the pennies? I don't think so. Also, he's used to American prices. You know, he's used to sitting at a restaurant and dropping a couple of thousand. Restaurants here, they just don't cost the same, you know, even the nice ones. It's just not the same kind of money. Better food, but it's even the swanky restaurants don't cost that kind of crazy money. I mean, that famous place in Modena, you know, Franceschini or Francesco or whatever, place that keeps winning best restaurant every year or second best restaurant for the past 15 years, whatever it's been. Getting a table is pretty difficult. Myself and my ex tried a few times. Well, she tried, and I watched her try. And we never got one. That place for two is you're going to drop about 700. Sounds like a lot, but it's it's people fly from all over the world to eat there, and they sell out, you know, within minutes of opening their listings for the coming year. They're sold out. You know, you have to get on the wait list for cancellations, so you have to kind of have your suit ready and pressed and ready to jump in the car and go if they, you know, you get a last minute notice. Oh, we have a cancellation for 7:30. You want it? You know. But it's still like 700. I've been at Per Se in New York City. You're talking 1,200-1,300 for two. I've been at the Jean Georges. I've been to Gordon Ramsay's place at the London Hotel. Not the grill, the private restaurant. You're easily dropping $1,000, you know. Michael Ortega, how much is the Vino? Well, you're just going to have to go look at my latest video about getting this Cartier watch, because I show all the prices in the supermarket. Have a look. Walks and watches, you like the, hey, it's nice, isn't it? Helps having a tan too. Goes well with a nice white shirt. Goes well with everything. What am I talking about? John, I should have joined the Secret Service. Would have seen the world and got paid for it. Yeah, you'd probably be here next week. Free hotel room in Venice. Stand there with your sunglasses and your little earpiece with the little squiggly cord coming down, and a fully loaded. What would you bring, John? A Glock 19 or whatever? What would you strap? John is a guns man. Has to be. It's part of his job, or it was. What sort of guns do those guys use? SIG. Mathis says MP5. Glock 23, says Kent. The Glock is a good sturdy weapon, isn't it? I've actually been trained. I have a friend here inland. They like their guns inland here. I got a little bit of training one time. How to fucking hold the thing. A lot of people don't know how to hold a gun. Not you Americans. You guys know how to hold a gun. I didn't know how to hold a gun. I do now. Ken says it's a reliable, it's a reliable weapon, right? It doesn't fail. Alec Baldwin does too. No, apparently not. Well, he had a big old vintage stupid thing, right? Desert Eagle AL1. That's a big, chunky beast, right? Yeah. Yeah, there'd be lots of those guys all around the city. Marveling at the view, but also watching out. The Venetians are no threat. They're harmless. They're harmless. This is a red town, a commie town. Leftists don't do any of that shit. If we had it in Verona, it'd be a different thing. Those fuckers don't mess around there. But then they'd probably be fans of Jeff Bezos. Kind of goes hand in hand. Nah, the Venetians are just going to upset things a little with their noise and their yelling and their banners and their boats. That's all. It won't be any fear. Yeah, lots of gun boys in the room. Bala, Desert Eagle is not something one would carry around with him. Not really practical. Yeah, because it's big and heavy, right? And it's got that big kind of, it looks like a Toblerone, right? It's got a big kind of triangular barrel, whatever you call it. I just heard that from America, mate. I'm European. I know shit about guns. I know. I don't know too much about them either. I don't really care. Some people get very passionate about that stuff. But I feel like out of all people in the world, the Americans should understand Iran's need for a bomb. I've been saying it for years. I said it last week. People didn't like to hear it. I'm like, I wish they already made one, because what's happening would not be happening now. Everybody, the conversation stops. If you go into a party and you want to hold everybody up and steal their wallets, and you're the only one with a gun, you can. There's nothing anyone can do about it. But if there's a guy at the party and he has a gun, now you're in trouble, right? You might think twice about your little devious plan. That's what the problem is. All the surrounding countries there are frowning at what's been happening for a very long time. But they can't do anything about it. Iran can a little, and that's the problem. That's why they want to reinstate someone more Western oriented. That's what it's all about. They just don't want another guy at the party who has a gun. You even the playing field. Mo, why haven't Israel used their nukes? I don't think it's outside the possibilities. I really don't. Depends on how desperate they get. I know why Iran wouldn't use a nuke. First of all, if Iran used a nuke on Israel, it'd be the end of Iran. You know, they'd be flattened. The US, the UK, France, and they'd just shell the shit out. It'd be the end of Iran, the oldest culture in the world, 100 million people or whatever, or 92 million people. See Tucker Carlson. Oh, Jesus Christ, that was painful, that interview. No, that would be the end of them. Also, why would they? There's no reason why they would. They would also kill all the Arabs in the area. They'd kill all the Palestinians too. It's a very tight, little, small place. We keep hearing that, right? Bibi, you can put your thumb on the map and cover Israel. We're surrounded by all these big countries. Yeah, but you're armed to the teeth. The actual geographic size of your country is irrelevant. Look at Britain. Look at the UK. It's bloody tiny. They took over the whole bloody world. They conquered the whole planet. The size of your country kind of has nothing to do with it. Jeff Bezos isn't a particularly tall man. I'm a much bigger guy. But if I'm at the party somehow, who's the more powerful guy in the room? I don't think there's any question. Bill Gates is a very small fella. Doesn't matter if you're small. It matters the money you have and the weapons you have. That's what matters. Small my ass. Edoc, why am I stuck at 245? You mean subs? I don't know. I think I saturated. I think watch channels in particular, are saturated around 350. I think that's the maximum you can have unless you break out into other stuff or you have a more broad appeal. You do like a Nico Leonard and you're kind of more about comedy and people coming over, they just want to see about Floyd Mayweather's fake watch or whatever. They're searching for Floyd Mayweather or they're searching for, whatever actor or sports personality he's exposing, or whatever. Watch expert exposes fake watch of some famous actor or whatever. That's what brings in the bigger crowd. Look at Jenny, look at Bark and Jack. I mean, they're kind of stuck. They've kind of saturated. They've gotten the maximum amount of subs for a watch channel. I'm about 70 or 80,000 away from that. And I'm controversial, I'll do this shit. So a lot of people unsubbed, especially when I talk about their daddy. Their orange daddy. One guy watched the video from the other day and he was like, it was a great video. I loved it, but could have done without the Donald Trump quip. I'm like, what quip? I just said, Donald, are you paying attention? Because the price of eggs is a thing that we have been all talking about, right? He certainly did. Didn't say anything bad, but still touchy, whingy children. I'm like, he's not your fucking dad. If you're not fucking dead on the street, the guy would step over you, wouldn't give a shit. Kidding me? The loyalty, man. It's a fucking cult. I don't know, yeah. It's been slow growth over the past while. There was a spurt there with the bigger video from the end of last year. And then, yeah, when I get to 250, I'll do a party. That's 250,000. That's a milestone. I'll do a live. I'll have guests on. We'll all have a laugh. I'll get drunk. Be fun. I'll celebrate it just like Brit Pierce celebrated hers. Oh, wait. See, Brendan Boswell is going after Brit Pierce now. It's great. She's so fucking dodgy, man. Ugh. John, did you see that Tulsi has been sidelined because she disagrees? Hey, it's hard to remain Donald's friend for long, right? Mathis, buy a $250,000 watch to celebrate. I don't have that kind of money. I'm sorry. And even if I did, I'm not sure I would buy that kind of. That would be probably a ultra rare AP or a Richard Mille or something, right? By the way, a friend of mine is selling an ultra rare AP and doesn't want as much as market price. Wants about easily $100,000 less than the market price. So if anybody is interested, reach out to me. Boxing watches. What has Brit done now? Now, she just did a video on Christopher Ward. It's very spooky because so did Adrian Barker. And at almost the same time. And she said she wasn't being paid and there was no includes paid promotion sign. But the truth is she's being paid in the watch. The watch is $2,000. So Brendan is kind of going, well, that's a bit disingenuous, isn't it? I'm like, Brenny, don't you know this woman? Don't you know her by now? Disingenuous is the middle name, man. What a shame. Yes. Mo, what do I do for a living? I do this now. Mo, I was in a rock band for years. And we toured the world. We're mostly America. We were on a major record label. RCA Records. Band is called Mr. North. It's all out there if you want to go check it out. I like it. And then I moved into music production. This was all out in New York. I lived in New York for a very long time, 20 years. And on the side, I had a little computer business, a little production business. Oshinamali Productions was the name on my Chase Bank card and all of that. I had an LLC. And I also did computer stuff on the side. Computer store based out of New York. Because I'm a computer geek. But I honestly, with the band, even if you're on a major record label, you're not making big money unless you sell millions of records. You're not making big money. I finally started making some decent money when the band came to an end in 2012. And I went into production and I got a couple of big production gigs. Because I know how to write for orchestra and stuff. You know, as a rock and roller, I played bass guitar and swigged vodka on stage and banged my head around, did all that stuff. You can find it all on YouTube. It's pretty embarrassing. And I was skinny. But I also have a classical background because I studied classical music in Ireland many years ago, piano and music theory and all that. So I know how to write, staff notation, tonic solfa and all that. So one of the band's records, we had a full orchestra on and I wrote all the dots. And because usually these rock bands, when they want strings and like real orchestra on their song, they have to outsource that job to someone who knows what they're doing. And most rock and roll guys don't even read music. I know incredibly talented, insanely talented musicians who still cannot read music. It's astonishing. They have a different talent. Their talent lies in a different part of the brain. And but I'm a hybrid. You know, I can do all of that stuff and the rock and roll stuff. So word got around that I could write for orchestra. So I started getting these gigs that included orchestra. One of them was the national anthem for Aruba, a little island 12 miles from Caracas, where a lot of Americans go on holiday on the eastern seaboard. They fly down. And somehow I got that gig. They wanted a rearrangement of their national anthem, something that sounded a bit more glorious and a bit more stately and, you know, Hollywood or whatever. Because their original version, which was written by a guy called now his name is gone. Begins with a P, I think. All written in Papiamento, the local language there. It was a little too jolly, and it didn't sound very serious. And they had a few entries to the Olympics, and they needed something a bit more stately. So we got in a 50-piece orchestra in New York City, and all these Arubans flew in to be part of the choir. If you go to YouTube and type in Aruba Oshinomali, you'll see the session was pretty massive. And my friend Silas conducting, bald guy, also a hybrid guy who knows how to shred on guitar, but he can also write music. In fact, he helped me just transcribe all the parts, because we did 35 different versions of the anthem, 2 different keys, and then different arrangements, and then we had like a group of little kids sing it, and then these solo singers, and then the granddaughter of the original writer from, I guess he wrote it back in the 50s or 60s or something. We had to do all these versions. It was a lot of work, but it was a good gig. Then there were other gigs that came out of that. Why am I talking about this? Oh yeah, money. So I got paid a shitload of money for all of these things, and I have a knack with money. I can turn $5 into $20. I just learned how to do that early in life, just out of necessity. So when you hand me, a couple of $100K, I'll never have less than that. I'll always churn the money some way, make it turn around, And here we are all these years later. I mean, even with the watches, I'm a careful buyer. I know I'm buying something that could be resold if I want to resell it, change it. And there are very few watches in my collection that are just like a dead end. You buy the watch and nobody will ever buy that watch again. You're hanging on to it. So that money is now officially spent, It's like bottles of wine, unless you're willing to put them in a cellar and sell them then, which I actually did for a while with wine. I'd buy 3 very expensive bottles, drink one, and then the other 2 would be sold. That would pay for the first one. So that way I was able to drink really expensive Bordeaux and actually not really pay for it. I did that with TVs for a while. I wanted a big, huge, when these, massive plasma things came. Well, that one's OLED, but at the time it was all plasma and so on. So instead of buying one for me, I would buy 3 at a good price and then sell 2 of them at a profit that would pay for my one. It's just the logic I was using all the time. Very hard to get out of that habit. So when I entered the watch world, I recognized all those same kinds of characters because there's lots of them in the watch world. So it was familiar territory. It was just with a totally new thing, you know. AP, $5. When you terrorize, then it's no surprise that lies is all you get. Great lyric. But to answer your question just more briefly, I think it was Mo. What I do now is this. I do this. Do this stuff. Make videos. And it gets me by. You know, even Venice is an investment. You know, think about it. It's great to live in Venice, but it's more expensive to live in Venice than it is to live in other towns inland in Italy. It's a lot more expensive. That's one reason why a lot of Italians don't want to live in Venice. They're not interested. But by living in Venice, I get to make great videos. I step out my door and there's already, I mean, most Italian towns are beautiful anyway. I could probably do it in a lot of other towns. But I'm really spoiled for choice for beautiful footage here, you know. So it's kind of like an investment in itself because I get to show these watches in this miraculous, strange environment with gondolas going by and so on. It's so easy, you know. Someone with the same kind of orientation that I have, but lives in a little town in, I don't know, some state in America that's out in the middle of nowhere and there isn't anything really. There's no magnificent architecture. All they've got down the street is a Dairy Queen and a filling station. You know, they sit the watch down. There's no background. There's no setting. So in a way, Venice pays for itself because, you know, watch brands write me and go, we'd love you to do our watch. And we'd love to have our watch with those backgrounds. How much do you want? You know, because otherwise they have to fly to Venice and pay for a hotel and have a cinematographer do all that stuff. Whereas I'm here and I can do it and it's easy, relatively easy. I mean, you have to know what you're doing and you can do things well, you know, with the right lenses and the right kind of cameras and or enough work. But Venice really does, it's kind of living in a town like this for the fact that I'm in a visual world. I'm making videos that are about visuals mostly. It kind of pays, as I said, pays for itself. You know, a lot of people live in New York City for the same reason. They pay way more rent than they would outside the city. But being in the city and rubbing shoulders with the folk in New York City gets them the bigger jobs. You know, one of my relatives is in digital marketing, and she was in a smaller town in the Midwest and moved to New York City. And she was working with a small digital marketing firm wherever she was. And then when she moved to New York City, then she's looking for a job there. And digital marketing in New York City, that's next thing she's working for fucking Google and all these big, massive companies because that's where the opportunity is. So even though the rent went sky high, her wages also went sky high. So it kind of evens itself out. Same kind of thing. I'm gonna fire up a Partagas. I haven't had Partagas in a while, right? I used to smoke a lot of Partagas. This is a Series D number 6 Stubby. fat ring gauge, but not too long. Probably about, what do you reckon, half an hour? 25 minutes. So let me fire up one of those. Bala, Saudi Arabia is working on their national anthem rearrangement with Hans Zimmer. Right, so there's obviously a much bigger version, but that's essentially what Aruba wanted to do. It's rumored there is to be a $10 million US project. Yeah, because first of all, Hans Zimmer, like, does he even answer the phone for less than 10 million bucks? I doubt it. He's brilliant. And if you want something that sounds gargantuan, like monstrously big, he's a good guy to call. I don't know if it'll work for a national anthem because he's kind of minimalist in his style. That's why it works so well for the movies. But I wouldn't put it past him. I'm sure he'll love the challenge. That's what that guy's about. Hans Zimmer is a problem solver more than a composer. John Williams is a composer. You know John Williams from Jaws, E.T., Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Schindler's List. The list is endless. You've literally grown up on his soundtracks. Hans Zimmer is the new guy, but Hans Zimmer is like a minimalist. Yeah, he can do with 3 notes what other composers do with 1 million. This isn't lit proper. No, that was a good project. It was good to work on it. I had to follow rules as well. I was like, because you're dealing with national pride. It's a small island, but everybody knows about it, especially Americans. They know it well. It's a holiday destination for a lot of Americans. And there's a lot of national pride there. So there were certain things I couldn't do. My first draft was problematic because I put in a key change. And they're like, no, you can't do a key change. I'm like, but it lifts everything up to a new level. We need it for the 3rd verse. They're like, yeah, that's nice and all, but we can't do that. The governor won't. He won't approve. It'll be rejected. So I'm like, all right. I'll do a drum roll instead. Something else. Honestly, my biggest mistake on that composition was the fucking English horn. I don't know why I thought of English horn. And finding an English horn player, you know, you need violins, violas, brass, etc. in New York City, and you're spoiled for choice. Obviously, I heard lots of my friends that I know. I was like, come on, this is a good gig. It pays well. It's easy. And they're all fucking amazing players. But then we found an English horn guy, and the bloody English horn kept breaking. It's got the English horn has a long stem. It almost looks like one of those cigarette extenders that people used to smoke cigarettes with. Remember? In the olden movies, whatever. Has a big long stem, and then there's the woodwind at the end, and the fucking stem kept breaking. So we were like ready to go for a take, and then it's like, no, stop, everyone stop, the English horn broke again. Okay. Take 5. You have to fix the English horn again. It's like, oh, damn. Mike, it's the Aruba. Look up Aruba Dushi Terra. Dushi Terra means it's Papiamento for sweet land. Terra, land, right? Douchey. Douchey means sweet. They like their sweet things in Aruba. All the lads in Aruba are all heavy set fellows. They're all happy, smiley, very tanned, heavy set fellas. Because they're on the beach every day with beers, just barbecuing all night. That's their life. They have a great time down there, those guys. Yeah, if you look up Aruba Dushi Terra Oshinamali, you'll find it. And you'll find a couple of different versions. You'll find the instrument. We had to make an instrumental, of course, which was more ornate in nature. And then I had to make a more stern, simpler, slightly simpler version with the chorus, with the choir singing. Aruba Dushi Terra. I can't remember the lyrics. That was a fun gig. Big production, the cameras everywhere and lighting and all that stuff. The room we got was the Domena Center in New York. It's the biggest live recording room on the East Coast of America. It was $10,000 a day. I remember that. Just for the room. That's before you pay staff, before you do anything. Catering was a nightmare for the guys. And then there was a ton of competition. There were people who flew in as well with the Arubans who were like, I think these guys had an idea that there was submissions, there was several different submissions from different composers. So it was like it wasn't just that they picked me. It's like I had to deliver a submission. And I think they had 4 or 5 that they had to choose from in the end, something like that. But it was a bit weird because these guys are, they're Arubans and they're from South America and so on. And there's this Irish guy walking around, I'm not sure that they liked that very much. And I'm not sure that the Arubans were very convinced, the choir and people like that, they weren't that convinced either at first. But then they heard then they started singing the thing and then they all got it. The proof is in the pudding, right? Then there was some famous composer there, some like their equivalent of a, iconic, Elton John or whatever kind of character in their music who had just recently passed away and the whole island was in mourning. And his most famous song, I can't remember what it was. I have to go find it. Maybe I'll post it on my Instagram or something. But they were like, is there any chance that you could write a little thing, seeing as we're all going to be there with the orchestra? Could you write a little thing for this guy? It'd be really special for everybody on the island. And his daughter is part of the choir. She's going to be here. So the night before the session, I listened to his music. And it's all happy, jolly, beachy shit, I'm like, ugh. I mean, the guy just passed away So one of the songs was actually quite touching, the lyrics and the melody. So I just discard with all the frilly nonsense, all that dancey stuff. And I got in and made kind of a Saving Private Ryan kind of, sad thing. Starts with a lone trumpet, at the beginning by itself, that kind of thing. And his best friend, who was also a singer on the island, came up to me in tears and he hugged me for like 10 minutes straight. He was like, I can't believe what you did for his song. And that arrangement just brought me to tears and so on. Then there was one other guy who was like, why does the music sound so sad? This is a jolly song. And the main producer guy there who was dealing with all the organization, he was like, settle down, You'll understand once we do it. But we had to do several takes because the main singer, the best friend of his, who's also a personality down there, I can't remember his name. I'm ashamed to say. Too many people. He just kept choking up. You know, he couldn't. We had to stop and then restart. Anyway, it was nice. Is that what I'm talking about? What am I talking about tonight? Am I talking about anything? Oh, by the way, I got a lovely gift in the mail from Chiara Nardo because she was delighted with the video from the other day. And this woman doesn't waste time, you know. She's right on it. There's no tire kicking and chin scratching with this woman. This is a what I would describe as a heavy mover. It's a person who gets things done. It's one of the reasons why I featured her watches, actually. Decisive person. That's what you want. And she sent me a beautiful bottle as a thank you for the video. And also the rubber strap for the watch, which I put it on straight away. If you follow me on Instagram, on my new Instagram, my tiny Instagram that I had to start all over again. If you follow me there, you would have seen it already. Let me put it on. I stuck it on the rubber and I was like, dang, it's even nicer on the rubber. Shit, now I'm only going to leave it on the rubber. And I love the bracelet for this thing. There it is on the rubber. And in her usual style, it's a kind of a classy rubber, you know? It's got that kind of high society class to it. It's nice, isn't it? On the rubber. Come on. There you go. Look at that buckle. So I was wearing it all day yesterday. Here's how you know I like a watch. I went to bed, I fell asleep, and I woke up in the middle of the night with the watch on. That never happens. I always take a watch off. Michael O looks so clean. Yeah, clean, neat kind of design. Oh my God, I love it on the rubber. Swear to God, if you guys are on the fence about, you know, you're about to maybe pull the trigger on a Chiara Nardo, you better do it soon because there's been a huge reaction. You better do it soon before she pumps her prices up. I think this is a $4,000 watch. $4,500 watch. Especially with the bracelet. She just can't ask for that kind of money yet. Yet. It was an echo. So that was nice. Omega fanboy, so glad you do disclosure unlike others. Yeah, I mean, I'll talk about that for a minute, you know, about different brands and them paying you and free watches for a video. First of all, I usually say no when I'm offered a free watch for a video because that's not really payment. I mean, if you have a channel that has 10,000 subs or something, okay, you know, free watch, why not? You know, but you get over a certain point, and now it's like, I don't need your fucking watch. You know what I mean? So many are like, well, we sent you the watch, or we sent you 2 watches. I'm like, yeah, but your watches are $500. Like, I don't. What did it cost you? $80 to make? Like, I don't. And also, I don't need anywhere. There's watches all over this bloody house. There's boxes outside the door I still haven't even opened. There's watches in the bidet. There's watches everywhere. And I have my own collection, which is pretty sexy if you haven't been paying attention. I don't need a fucking free watch. So I usually just say, well, no. The first step is always this. Send me the watch. I'll take a look. My audience have a sharp eye. They're not fools. They're not going to buy any bullshit. You know, I'm not going to try and sell them something or advise they should buy or recommend a watch to them that I don't like. They'll see right through me, you know. They're too sharp. So I was like, the first step is like, people are like, can you give us a quote? And I'm like, I'm not going to quote you anything. I need to see the fucking thing. If I fall in love with it, I think it's the best value and the best watch for the money and so on. Now we can talk turkey. And if we don't come to an agreement, I'll just send you the watch back. It's fine. No harm, no foul. And if I hate the watch, then let's not do a video, because where's the sense in that? Like, why would I fillet your fucking brand and just hurt your business? That's not, you know, there's no point in that. But you know, there's no roadmap to this stuff yet. This influencer thing, it's all very new for brands. And some brands really know how to do it, and other brands have no fucking clue how to do it. You don't send a channel that has over 100,000 subs a watch and go, can you do the video for the unless your watch is $10,000 or something. Like, eventually I'll have to do a Stephen McGonigal video. I know Stephen. We got twisted drunk for about 24 hours in Dublin last year. We met, people were reaching out to him going, you know, haven't you heard of this dude? And he was like, I don't watch YouTube. So eventually we connected, and I was in Dublin, and he was like, well, I'm coming to, he lives in Switzerland. So we met, and he's in the video. He's in Ireland Part 1. This is one of the greatest watchmakers in the world. Okay. Hands down. Like, people talk about him and his brother, the McGonigal brothers, in hushed tones. They make watches that are 300,000 euros, you know, handmade. Every single thing is handmade and labored over. It takes like a year to make these watches. And I haven't done a video on one of his watches yet, but when that day comes, because we have been talking, I'm not going to expect a free watch from this. The watch will arrive insured and probably with bodyguards, you know, and I'll have it for like a specific time, and then it'll have to be returned, express shipping or whatever, or hand delivered back or something. I would never expect that kind of level, but it would be nice to team with him because he's Irish, and it's a very Irish brand. All his names are old Irish. His crowns have the own ancient Irish Celtic language in them, and so on. It's like, and the fucking design is outrageous, you know. But yeah, some brands are good with this stuff, and some brands just aren't. They don't know what they're doing. I think they see these influencers on YouTube and Instagram and kind of go, they're just like silly individuals. We'll just, you know, we'll give them a $300 watch as payment. There you go. There you go, boy. What a mistake they're making. And then other brands are just, they're right on it, man. They know exactly what to do. I remember Zelos were great. Now, Zelos came to me through my agent guys, this company that find me advertising, Surfshark and all of these, you know, Masterworks and all these other things that I've advertised. And they normally, what they do is they pay out at the end of the month or the first of the next month. So if you do the video on the 5th, right, of June, and it goes live, then you're not getting paid till the 1st of July. If you're lucky, it might be the following month. They have a slow process. They have a lot of clients. I actually think Brit Pierce is one of their clients as well. But with Zelos were like, we don't want a standalone video, which I thought was very smart. A lot of brands want a standalone video. They don't want any other watches in the video. And I'm always like, are you sure? Because you're a micro brand or you're smaller and fewer people are interested in you. Whereas if I put you at the beginning of a video where I'm unboxing a bigger brand, people will come for the bigger brand, but they'll sit through. It's my mentality from the rock band. There's the support band, right? You go along and see Van Halen in Vegas, and you have to sit through my band because we supported them a bunch. And you're kind of forced. You sit down and you're like, oh great, I bought tickets to Van Halen and can't wait to see. But then they're not coming on yet. There's going to be a support act that comes out that warms up the audience, that gets the audience ready. And that's a way for promoters and record companies to promote new talent. There was a time when Van Halen was a support band back in the early 70s, I imagine, before a bigger band. And this is how it all works. So I have that same mentality now. Be a support act, because people are going to turn on the video anyway. And the truth is, if the support band, going back to the music again, if they're shit, you'll probably get up and go get a beer, because you're, fuck, it's not the band we paid to see. It's some little unknown, and they're kind of crap, Luckily for us, we were pretty good, and we'd get bloody standing ovations and stuff and sell a lot of merchandise. And people would come out going, that was great to see. They enjoyed the bigger band, whoever it may be that we supported. We supported all these huge bands. But then they'll also say, I like that other band, those guys from Dublin. I might buy their CD too. It's just the way you do business. And that's the way I see it with watches. If you're a smaller brand, it's so much smarter. So I always reply to these brands. I'm like, listen, if you want to pay me top dollar and I'll do a dedicated video, first of all, I have to like the watch, because I'm not fucking promoting a watch I don't like, or I don't think my audience would like or be interested in for some reason, any reason. Give me an angle, give me a reason. It's like Sega watches. They're very strange, but they won an award. They won the GPHG award for design. It's like, that's significant. So I'm like, okay, well, there's my angle. I can show my audience. Not everybody's going to like it, but some might say, oh, that's really interesting and strange, and it won an award, and fine. But I'm always like, it'll cost you less. It'll cost you half, and I can put you in front of another. So that's what happened with Nomadic. I did the Rolex Milgauss unboxing, and Nomadic were a tiny brand. He was operating out of his bedroom. Now he's opening a new store. He's just built a new store in Belfast. He's come miles, Peter. It's amazing. But he was operating out of his own house or his own bedroom or something at the time. And I was like, listen, I'll stick you in. I got the Milgauss. It's going to get a lot of views because it's fucking Rolex. And I'll stick you in at the start as a warmer-upper, And he got fucking loads of sales. Of course he did. Zelos were great because Zelos never asked. Zelos are like, we don't want a dedicated video. What we'd like is a sort of best watches in this price bracket. If you're interested in making a video like the 4 best watches, affordable, under $3,000, whatever watches, and you're doing a list of your top 5 or whatever, we'd like to be one of those. And they offer great money. The watch, of course, is for free, but that's like, I don't give a shit. I have too many watches. That's not part of it. Now, getting back to the agents, they normally pay out. They take their sweet time, honestly. By the time I get paid, sometimes I forgot I did the bloody video months earlier, you know? I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I forgot I did that. And Zelos were so over the moon. The video is called, I think the video is called They Hate Rolex. I think that's what I called it. And it's all moody and this Depeche Mode music. And I put in a bunch of watches that I think are cool for under $1,000 or whatever the price bracket was. Yeah, I think it was under 1,000. Kind of addressing the whole thing. The theme was that I was addressing the crowd that are collectors of watches but have their taste is under $1,000 or under $1,500. They like Chris Ward watches, for example, and they like Hamilton and, you know, things like Seiko, my God, the kings of that, right? And Zelos saw the video. They had no idea what to expect. That, by the way, is the worst thing to do with a dude like me. Tell me what to do for the video. Don't tell fucking me what to do. I know what to do for your video. Better than you do. Sorry. They had no idea what to expect. They were so floored by the video. They contacted the agent, and the agent contacts me and goes, they want you paid tomorrow. They don't want us to wait. They were just like, get him the money now. I was like, okay, great. Thanks, guys. That's the spirit. Now, next time Zelos come calling, you think I'm going to phone in the video and make a half-ass video? No. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. That's what happened with Atawac as well. They didn't know the angle, you know. I saw their watch and I was like, that's fucking weird. But I guess it's like your work or an MBNF bizarre, weird, futuristic watch. I was like, well, I'm not going to hold it on the screen and do a little unboxing and go, oh, this is the warranty card. And that's not capturing the imagination of the brand and the vision of the brand in any way. You know, maybe it would be more informative. You know, what's the lug width? What's the power reserve? How many hours? You know, fuck off. Like, come on. That's not what the brand is about. The brand is about like futurism. And so I did the whole dystopia thing, you know, in black and white. We're over the moon. I know I'm kind of blowing my own trumpet right now, but whatever. Forgive me. I should be reading the comments here. Omega fanboy Ian, Depeche Mode quality. Oh yeah, Depeche, man. Fucking yeah. I'm sorry, but those guys are kings. Jesus, Depeche. I'm honored because at least one of our records. No, two of our records were mixed by their mixer, and one of them was produced by their producer. He was a good friend of mine. Depeche, Jesus Christ. And those guys wear Hublot. Terrible. I don't know what the fuck they're thinking. A big influencer that I know on Instagram as well. She's promoting Hublot. I wrote to her. I was like, "Do you realize that?" Because she used to promote IWC. She's got millions of followers. I was like, "How much do they pay you, girl?" Because you are aware those watches are garbage. Then, like with the Seagull, remember the Seagull watch over the Christmas? That 1961 thing with the open case back. I was fully expecting to return their watch and go, listen, thank you, but no thanks. It's not for my audience. Blah, blah, blah. The thing came, I was like, oh my God, this thing is gorgeous. And then I looked at the history and I was like, oh shit, okay, I better make a video. And that thing, what did they want for it? $450 or something? I was like, this is a $1,000 watch. What the hell? So I made a nice video because I was like, I'm sorry, but I want this watch. I almost don't want to tell anybody about it because I want them all. I think it was a limited edition 500-piece thing. It sold out in one day. I think the video went live on Christmas Day. I was in Dublin. And there was an affiliate link thing, and I kept getting an email every time they got a sale. It's weird. Fucking inbox was going nuts. Because why? Because it was a quality, gorgeous, nicely made watch with a little historical connection. And really affordable. And Christmas Day, what are we all doing as men? We're mostly men in the room. Sorry, ladies, but it's 95% men at least. What are we doing on Christmas Day? We're exhausted, the kids got the toys or whatever. You cook the turkey. Now you're bored. You're sitting around with a glass of sherry. And it's Christmas Day. And then a video comes up with this very affordable, gorgeous watch. You're like, fuck it, I want it now. It's a funny thing about Christmas Day. It's a really good day to sell watches. Roar the Tiger. Oh, we're back onto guns. Roar the Tiger, $10. Thanks, man. Glocks weren't always reliable. Shortly after, NYPD adopted it. 2 cops shot a suspect 17 times. Oh, that's rough. 44 rounds were expelled. Panic shooting. Oh, God. Guns. What's up with the fetish of guns? I don't get it. By the way, the suspect was innocent. Oh, well. That's rough. Ray, Oisin O'Malley blowing his own trumpet? Never. It takes an Irishman to take another Irishman down. You want to take an Irishman down, you need another Irishman to do it because he'll do it the right way. Thanks, Ray. Love you too. That's funny. Oh, shit. Perfect Peak. Who are you? I've never seen you before. What's that watch? Looks interesting. Mr. O'Malley's too modest about his talents, music, and range. No, I'm not modest. You may have noticed. Modesty is not my thing. Sorry. I'm not a total dick, but come on. Let's speak the truth here. Have a look at his great Mr. North concert, which I watched countless times real time. The Mr. North, the Everything one, the full concert. I think it's called Everything. Was the name of the record. It was our final studio album. Thanks, man. Put a lot of work into that one too. Didn't have the full orchestra. I had 6 beautiful violinists. I picked the sexiest violinists I could find. Because, it helps on the stage. They're good. They're talented. It's not like they're not talented. But yeah, it's like, let's put Susie up front because half the audience is on our side before we even walk on the stage. Anyway, yeah. Neil, 5 British pounds. I like your little avatar there. No question, Neil. Thanks for that super chat. No, I'm just letting you know this stuff so you know what goes on behind the scenes with these watch brands and with advertising. You know, I recently did the video on the China, our Rolex made in China, and honestly, the audience, the comments is just full of guys who are just like, yeah, it's telling me. I was like, oh God, I attracted the wrong bunch with this video. But I'm basically defending brands, Swiss brands and so on, not Omega, which is one of my big loves, which proves them all wrong. Because if I was interested in defending watches that I love and own, I wouldn't have said that, right? But I did. But, there are people writing going, well, clearly he's being paid by Rolex. I'm like, in my fucking dreams, guys. That's amazing what people think. You think Rolex give a shit about me? Absolutely not. They don't even give a shit about the biggest channels out there. They don't care. They have Martin Scorsese and Roger Federer and Leonardo DiCaprio. They don't look at little YouTubers. We stand far above that crowd. I was just watching Philip Seymour Hoffman in The Master the other day. I haven't watched that film in a while. It was last week. What a performance. We stand far above that crowd. Here it comes. A big dragon. I wrestle him to the ground. Oh my God, his performance is unbelievable. My favorite line in that movie, there's so many great lines in the movie. My favorite line, he's going to bed after his daughter's wedding, and he's like, I'm leaving, everyone. Don't get up. Don't get up. And they all start laughing. And he's like, we fought the day and won. We won. Great line. Great film. I can't really do his voice very well. Yeah, so just so you guys know, I mean, Rolex aren't calling any influencer or any. They do not care. And the big brands don't do it. They're not interested in this stuff. Then, so if somebody's defending Rolex or whatever, or AP or Patek or whatever it might be on YouTube, you're mad to think that they're being paid. They ain't being paid. Can you imagine that? That's quite a meal ticket. That ain't coming. Ever. They're not interested. They're interested in they have Yuja Wang, right? She's a concert pianist. They stand far above this crowd. Anyway. I like to just give you guys the scoop of what's going on behind the curtain, how it all really kind of works. But honestly, with a lot of brands, we can't come to. They send me the watch, or a lot of brands send me several, right? So Atoac sent me 4. They've sent me 6 watches already. Other brands, they send me 2 or 3 because they want to give you an idea of the spectrum of what they've got, in hopes that you might focus on one. You might say, well, I don't like the other 2, but I do like this one, and maybe this is good for my audience. And yeah, okay, let's do it. Let's do a deal. Let's do a thing. And with some of the brands go, I say, okay, listen, this is actually really well built watch. I was not expecting that. This is really good. It's at the right price bracket. The price is very, very important. You know, the price, we have to start with the price. If the watch is okay, decent, and it's only $100, I'm like, oh, well then, okay, it's only $100 then. Now I can say, okay, listen, you want something throwaway, you want something easy, you want something that you don't mind beating up. This thing is only $100 and it's really well made. It should be priced at 500. The price really dictates. If the price is $10,000 and you could be buying yourself an Omega or Rolex or something else for the same money, why would I ever tell you guys this is a good watch? This is a good watch to buy. I would never do that. It's like the Christopher Ward, the new Loco thing. Very interesting. Okay, open works front on it and so on. Okay, interesting. They're getting experimental. That's great. It's 5,000. I would never advertise that watch. For $5,000, you can get, or euros or whatever, you can get yourself an Omega. Forget it. No, do not buy a Christopher Ward for 5,000. No, do not do it. I don't care what it's got on it. So the price is super important. But what I do with a lot of the brands, rather than being a total dick, I just go, listen, if you don't have a budget and you think I'm going to make a video for the price of your little $500 watch, whatever, can I recommend a smaller channel for you? Like, there are smaller channels who would probably be happy to do it for the watch or whatever. That's the way I say it, you know. Rather than just giving them a flat no, I'll just be like, well, listen, it's not really for my channel, but maybe what about this channel? It's up and coming, has respect, it's got fewer subs and so on, but might be right for them. You know, give them options. Try to be positive, you know. Anyway, I'm rambling now on the same point, aren't I? Yes. So, yeah, I would. I've yet to make a video really properly about that subject, but I think it could be handy for these brands so they know what they're getting into and the sort of things they can expect and the sort of things they should do. You know, I mean, think of it like with Chiara. You know, she's like, the next day after I made the video, I get mail. It's a beautiful bottle of limited edition grappa, you know, and the extra strap. That's just a nice thing to do. So now, next time it comes around to do a Chiara Nara video, am I going to be nice or am I going to be not nice? What do you think? Take a guess, you know? If I do a recommendations video on like watches between $1,000 and $2,000, it's definitely going to be included in there. Of course it will, because it is good and because the brand are being really nice about it. There's an old phrase like you attract more flies to honey than you do to vinegar, right? Oh, there's a PayPal from Philip once again. Legend. Thank you, man. Thanks for the super chats and the PayPal so far, guys. It's great. I wasted a lot of money this week. I did. I'm not going to get the money back from Airbnb. That's not happening. Of course. And I suppose I have the clothes. I can wear them. It's not like a total waste, but there's some kind of... You're going to PT Uomo. You have to buy like pink, bright colors and eccentric stuff. It's not stuff I would wear every day. So it was a bit of a waste. Oh well. You win some, you lose some. Ryan, what are you talking about, Ryan? Depeche Mode are an obsolete greatest of all time, God tier, biggest fan ever. Yeah, so you would like that video. I think the thumbnail says they hate Rolex or something like that. Yeah, I love Depeche. Man, they're class stuff. My ex would get mad because I listened to Depeche Mode so much. Yeah, it was funny because I had one of their producers and mixers and so on. He mixed Songs of Faith and Devotion live, and he worked on Ultra, I think. Anyway, we became friends because he worked on our records, and whenever he needed like string arrangements and stuff for a project, he'd send them to me. He'd be like, "Hey, can you write me a thing? I'll send you $500, whatever. Just need a little simple violin line, and you've got to write it in the dots, as we say in the industry." I'm like, "Sure, man." It happened there a few years ago. Actually, it was more than a few. It was 2020, I think. He was doing the San Remo, one of the artists at San Remo Music Festival here, and they needed string arrangements for the competition, the big live show that's on TV here. And I pumped them out, and it was such an honor because Ennio Morricone's, the classic Italian film soundtracks and so on. The guys who play all those classic soundtracks were the orchestra, pretty badass orchestra from Naples, and they played all my stuff on TV. I was like, "This is fucking great! They're reading my dots, Jesus." But it was funny because I had him mix one of those bigger projects that I had, production projects, and I decided to mix the record here in Italy in a friend's studio in Bassano. And so I asked him, and I gave him the budget, and I, flew him up first class and all that, and got him an apartment and everything while he was here mixing. But it was really funny because all the guys in the studio are big Depeche fans, big Cure fans, and are like, "Oh my God, Steve Lyon is coming to our studio." And they were like, it was really mental to see that kind of heavyweight, because they kept coming in with gifts for him and stuff, cakes and shit. Like, fuck. He's there with the headphones on editing. I'm like, Steve, what? I'm like, they want to present you a bottle or a cake. Or he's like, "Oh, fucking hell, man, I'm in the middle of this." I'm like, "Just give them 5 minutes. It'll make them so happy, That was amazing to watch that kind of power come through the studio. It's fucking unbelievable. Great guy. James Smith, favorite Depeche Mode song, I assume you mean, is "I Sometimes Wish I Was Dead." I like "Walking in My Shoes." That's a great one. That one's dark and big. I love that shit. So yeah. It's a funny thing as well in the music biz because the higher you get up, like the bigger wigs that you end up working with, the nicer they get. I think it's a fallacy to think that when people get big and powerful in entertainment, they become assholes, Ellen DeGeneres or whatever, you know. It's not what I've seen. I've seen only nicer people. There are exceptions to that, but in most cases, they get nicer. That might be one of the reasons why they keep getting the work, because they're just nice to work with, you know, friendly. Like my brother, he's played with Enrique Iglesias for years, and he keeps getting great big jobs because he's like the most agreeable person in the world. He's nice and he's a pro. That's the most important thing. He knows what he's doing. But he's also fucking chilled in the studio and nice to work with. And people, you know, next time a project comes around, they need a guitarist or a producer or whatever. And they're like, oh, let's get that guy again. He was fucking great, you know, because there's plenty of people with the talent. But how many of them are... I'm not a particularly nice person to work with, honestly. I mean, it's out there in the music biz, certainly in New York and so on, that working with Oisin O'Malley pays pretty well and it's good music, but he's also a fucking, you know, bit of a pain in the ass and a stickler for detail and all of that. So just be ready, you know. That's, people say that, you know. But the word got around with the orchestra crowd. All the orchestra people would dump other gigs and come do my gigs because I would pay them with cash. I know how it is to be in New York, you know, working, paying your rent, you know, doing a month-to-month living kind of situation, struggling. And, you know, some of these people are doing sessions and getting paid 6 months later. I'm like, no, I go around on the final day and all the music stands where their music is. First of all, I would always print the music beautifully and put it in a nice binder in a folder. It was always nicely done. So they'd be like, oh, this is great. Like, normally we get pages thrown in front of us with all these scribbles all over. We don't know what to do. I'm like, no. This is high class. We're keeping a high class here. And then on the final day, they find an envelope and there would be a tip and they're being paid in cash. And what happens then? Then they go, oh, I did a session yesterday with this guy, this rock and roll dude with a Dublin accent, and he fucking paid me in cash and give me $100 tip. And fucking the next time he wants to do a session, I'm doing it. I've got rent to pay, God damn it, you know? These things matter. We struggled for years. I know exactly what they're going through. I can hold off and pay them in 6 months. Jesus. So, how far are we in? Oh, we're pretty far. Jesus. God, I can go on a rant. I haven't even talked politics yet. Never mind. War with Iran is inevitable, guys. That's it. Just get used to it. It's happening. I think Trump is learning that. He's like, oh shit, some things are out of my control and I have to just go with it. It's the old Bill Hicks thing. Remember Bill Hicks, greatest comedian of all time? You win the presidency and they take you into a room. They congratulate you and take you into a room where there's these 12 guys sitting around a big table smoking cigars that you've never seen before. These are the real guys who control everything, you know. And they play you a film of the Kennedy assassination from an angle you've never seen before, you know. And then they stop the film, lights come back up, and they go, "Any questions?" Just my agenda for the next 4 years. Thanks. It's going to be rough. Has been kind of sickening, though, to see like all the victim playing, you know. Oh, they hit a hospital or they damaged this hospital. That's a war crime. Oh, now it's a war crime to hit a hospital after you flattened 200 hospitals, you shitheads. My God. There's like zero sympathy in the world right now, kids. I wonder why. Wonder where that came from. I'll make a fanboy story time before bedtime. I don't know. I'll do a story time next week. I don't really have enough time. I'm going to start the eye bashers in about 10 or 15 minutes with Dirk. Lord of Leck. I got a couple of vintage Citizens. My 7-star version 2 gets occasional wear. I don't have a Citizen. Walks and watches. How much are Christopher Ward paying Adrian Barker for his videos? Probably nothing, because Christopher Ward tried to work with me ages ago and sent me watches. They didn't send me one, they sent me two. And they didn't have a budget. I was like, how can Christopher Ward not have a fucking budget? What's that about? Also, I was never dealing directly with Christopher Ward. I was dealing with these companies they hire to liaison with advertising and influencers. So I wasn't dealing directly with them. It was the same thing with Bremont. Bremont reached out to me after the Zero West videos because they're like, oh shit, like this guy's into the, you know, he does the historical stuff and Britain and valor and all that stuff. Shit, we want some of that. We want a slice of that pie. But the person I was dealing with wasn't the fella. There's two guys, right, who run Bremont. And their communication was shabby and it was poorly put together. So it just never happened. But Chris Ward, I think they expect people to make videos just for a watch. Which basically means that how I interpret that then is Adrian wants to just keep that watch and maybe sell it or whatever. It's surprising though that he would not do it for payment because he gets paid good money for his videos. He's really big. But famously they're not great with that. Uncle Leo has the ankle. It's not 100%, man, but it's definitely a lot better than it was. Walking on it during the week did not help. And it messed up my PT Walmart thing. I'm supposed to be in Florence now, right now. I'm supposed to be in Florence all week for that. And meetings set up with big influencers in the fashion world. What am I going to do? Limp around Florence like an idiot? No, it's a total bummer, to be honest. DG, are you on meds? Are you not drinking? I'm not drinking much, no. Haven't been drinking. That's why you can see My face. I've got a little cheekbone slightly beginning to appear slightly. That's what happens when you stop the booze. No, I'm not on. I was just taking a little bit of ibuprofen. But I'm all right. I'll survive. I reckon I twisted it or I did something. And I was kind of unaware and I went to bed and the injury was felt the next day. I reckon that's what happened. So what's the poison tonight? Well, it's just a little tequila, but it's not. This is mostly ice. I filled the glass with ice because it's hot here. I put a little tequila in just, but I'm not buzzed or anything. It's zero effect. Jim Patterson, Jaws is 50 years old. Is it? Wow. I love that film. That film was shelved originally. I think it was released in 1977, but it was made in 1975. They were almost not going to release it. Isn't that incredible? Spielberg went over time and over budget, and the studio got angry. Andy London, weight is falling off, looking good. Thanks, man. Yeah, definitely. Definitely dropped a few pounds for sure. Thanks. It's not that hard when it's this hot out. Luke, have you heard of The Citizen Watch? No. I'll put it up seeing as you super chatted me. The Citizen Watch. The one for like $950,000. Got some Citizen fans in the room. The Citizen. Oh, nice. 30th anniversary with small seconds. That's cute. Not bad. Oh, that's nice. Wow. Is it time to do a Citizen video? Maybe it is. Look at their cool website. Ooh. They're kind of respected Citizen, you know? Decent. I'll look into that. Did you buy one? Luke? Ray. Somebody say Jaws? I know, Ray. On the iBashers, when we go on about movies, I should definitely include Jaws in there just to wake you up. Grab your attention again. You yell Barracuda? People say, huh? You yell Shark. We've got a panic on our hands on the 4th of July. Christopher Ward just released a new diver for the summer, Rufus. Let me go over to their website. I haven't been on there in a while. Is it good? Is it expensive? I don't think Chris Ward can push it too hard. They're good. They're solid watches, but like they can't be asking Omega money or whatever. Is it this one? All right. Nice. Good looking diver. Colorful. I like the orange with the blue. $200 meters. Just like the watch I have on right now. Okay. How much do they want? Because we have to start there. That shapes everything. $8.95. Okay. All right. Then okay. Is this to counteract the reaction over their logo watch? It's 44 millimeters. Big chunky monkey. That's a nice summer watch right there. Orange with the blue strap. $900. Yeah, decent. Good. They're a decent brand. They are. I just don't know why they expect people to make videos for the watch. I mean, unless you're a small channel, then. Eddie, I've been eyeing a Vulcane Cricket lately. It's 36 mils, perfect for me. I don't know why. It intrigues me so much. Vulcane Cricket. Vulcane. Let me add this over. Cricket President 36 mil. Have a look at the blue. It's $4,000. Is it worth it? This is GMT. Or is it a weird chrono? Why is it $4,000? Is it in-house movement? I doubt it, right? 316L steel, 36 mil. Let me get rid of your thing there so people can see. 52 hours power reserve. What's the movement? 12 line mechanical hand wound. Alarm. Alarm? It's got an alarm? 25 joules, 165 components. Are they touting an in-house movement? Let me see if you said it. Eddie. No, I don't see. Is that what we're looking at? Alarm duration, 20 seconds. So it's got an alarm built in. That's interesting. Wow. Damn, my screen is freaking out. It's okay. That pusher is a little odd, isn't it? Kind of coming out of nowhere. Simple design. The pusher is a lot, though. It's really coming out. Oh, look at that. Titanium case. Cricket. Strange name. All right. That looks nice on the brown leather. Wow. Eddie says yes. So it is in-house. Okay, that explains the price. $4,100. That's unique. Interesting stuff. All right. Steel bracelet is another $350. Oh, I see. You pay for the watch and then you choose what to put it on. Yeah, it looks nice, man. That pusher will freak me out, though. I mean, I like the crown and everything. I like everything. I like the simplicity. It take some time to get used to that. Why is it not a little shorter? The stem on that pusher is very long. I don't know why that irks me. Maybe it's just me. Uncle Leo makes a very good point. At 4100, just get an Omega. You read my thoughts, man. Get a used Omega. You can get a Cartier drive for less. Well, around that. I don't know about less. Around that or a little more. I should put on the drive again. So there's one last shot of the Chiara on the strap. I'm leaving it on the strap for now. It's a one and done because it's an all rounder. I said it in the video. It's like an Aquaterra. I mean, you can wear this with a suit to the restaurant, especially with the bracelet on. Looks very high class. But it's made for the summer. It's made for the beach too. This ain't. This is not. You're not going near the beach with this thing. It's not for that. Yeah, get yourself a Cartier drive. About 4,500, 5,000 gets you a Cartier drive on the used market. And I mentioned in the video the other day, Cartiers can tend to be in excellent condition on the used market because people baby them. They don't bring them to the beach. You know, they're not going to find sand in the watch or big scratches because people aren't using them for that kind of activity. Some Omegas on the used are really beat up, you know, really scratched up because that's what they're for. Give you one last shot of the Cartier, and then I'm going over to Dirk. Have a chat with him, have a laugh. There's the Cartier. Come on. Come on. She's beautiful. Anyhow, there it is, guys. That's my rant. Bala 6K gets the Glasuta Regional Panomatic Lunar. That's hand finished horology for 6K, right? Yeah, once you're up above the 4K mark, it's like, I don't know. Just skimming through the comments here. Thank you, DJ, for your super chat. Ray, as always. Greek Force. Good evening from Boston. Definitely need a nice whiskey after this week. Heavy week. Space Ace. Great to see you. Great to meet you. Congrats on your new Seiko. Yes, I gave Space Ace some Toscanos. Yes, puffing away on one now. Nice. Sorry, I missed that earlier. Thank you for that. And Ray again. AP. Ray again. Roar the Tiger. Ray. Niels. Real. James Smith. Luke. Thanks for drawing my attention to that watch. And thank you, Eddie, for drawing my attention to that other watch. Very interesting. Eddie, everyone has Omega. Yeah, I get that point. Yeah, maybe you want something more unique. Yeah, I get that. And thank you for the PayPals, guys. Ali, you legend. And others. Thank you, guys. Makes it all worthwhile. All right, I'm going over to Dirk. Let me get the link so I can stick it in the chat. If you guys want to come over, hang out with us over there, we'll shoot the shit, talk about whatever. He is live. Copy and slap it in the chat. Cool. It's in the chat. You can click on it directly. I'll see you guys over there in 10 seconds. Thanks for hanging out. Have a great weekend, guys. New content coming out soon. And hope to see you all very, very soon. Have a wonderful night.